Today we're doing a fish room vlog and it's a moving day. We're moving things around the fish room. I'm rearranging all the tanks. It's not an easy one, but I do want to make some changes around here, and you can see like right now it's a mess. I'm in the middle of moving this tank right now, and I decided maybe it would be a good video to document this and show you guys what it's like moving some tanks around. And not just some tanks, but we're moving most of the tanks today, so it's gonna be a tough one doing this alone. I might have to call a friend to help me, but we'll see. In the near future, I want to take this rack down and build a wooden stand that is much stronger, a wooden rack, because it's only been with me a few months, but ever since I started putting tanks on it, I just didn't like it at all because it bows. It's very weak. Even this, it doesn't have any water in it, but if you look, like the top part there's less space than the bottom, so it's bowing inwards. And I used to have a shrimp tank here, which I just moved over there, but the shrimp tank, it was much heavier because it had water. You could just see the tilt in the water surface, the water level, so I didn't like that, and we're gonna get this thing changed in the near future. So right now I am moving things around. I still haven't decided where each tank will sit permanently, but I do kind of have an idea, and I just need to move things around and see if that's the right spot for each tank. So we're gonna do that, and hopefully things work out and we'll be able to make this room look better. Alright, so it's the next day and the room looks quite a bit different. I did get some help from my friend to move these two tanks over here. It's just too heavy to do it alone. And the layout of the room has changed a lot, and I really like it. But it's not finished. There's still stuff I want to do in a few months' time, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. But you can see this side here has much less space. The sofa used to be here, and I would sit down and look this way, but I've moved the sofa over here, and this is just temporary. In the future, this sofa is going to move. Is it a sofa? It's a couch. It's a small little sofa, but it's gonna move over there, and my contest tank will come over here. So all the main fish tanks in this room will be in this section of the room. So I've got this rack here, that rack there, a 90-centimeter tank, and then my contest tank right there, and it'll be all grouped up in this small area, and I think it'll be much more convenient for me. I'll be able to look at all the tanks and enjoy them in a more confined space. It's the same space, but the sofa will be right where this contest tank is, and we'll be looking in at all the action. And now over on this side of the room where this rack is, I'm going to be redoing this rack. I'm going to take this down and make a 2x4 rack. It's not gonna be with this many shelves. I think I'm gonna lessen one shelf and make it more simple, but I'm going to grow some plants, some of my cryptocorynes, bucephalandras, terrestrial plants. I want to try growing some begonias moving forward. Right now the lights aren't on because I've dismantled all the wiring from moving some tanks around. My shrimp tank, which is now over there, used to be on here. But yeah, very soon, in a few days, I'm going to be redoing this rack, so you guys will see a video on that. Right now you can see the space here between this tank and this rack is very narrow. But once I redo this rack, it's going to be a slimmer rack, and I'm going to put it as close to the wall as I can. It's gonna open up more space here. But this is the 4-foot tank. Used to be the African cichlid tank. I did mention a paludarium build, but I think for the time being I'm going to hold off on that idea. It's still an idea, but I think I want to take my time and think about it, because I also want to try growing some terrestrial plants, some unique plants, and I think this might be the tank for that. I'm not really confident with a stand holding a lot of water in here, so I did think of a paludarium, but maybe I do want to go something more of a terrarium or a vivarium, something like that. Or maybe just a plant collection tank. I think that would look nice with some big begonias or bulbitis and anubias. I think that would look really nice. And then the 60 centimeter tank is over here. Right now, I am doing a blackout on this tank, but for this video I decided to turn on the lights. So you see the CO2 isn't running right now. The plants are doing really well. The nubias are all growing. Still have a little bit of hair algae. That's why I'm doing the blackout, to hopefully get rid of that last bit. But yeah, we can soon add fish in here, and I think it'll look nice. So this is kind of the entrance tank. When you walk into the fish room, it's the first tank that'll be here. And where that sofa is, the contest tank will sit in a few months' time. Once I submit this year's contest for the IAPLC, I'm going to take it down and move the tank over here. So it's going to be another 5-6 months till that happens. My Madagascar lace plants and the shrimp tank are along this wall now in front of the window, and I'm not going to put any light on them because they're already getting enough light from the sunlight. Yeah, the shrimp are all currently hiding underneath the moss and the driftwood. The lace plant doing amazing. I just love how it's growing in here. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep these tanks up here. I don't know if I really want to go into breeding shrimp. I'm still deciding on that. I might want to take down this tank in the future, and I'll just take out all the shrimp and put them into my planted tanks. So yeah, because I don't really like having a tank here, because also this space is kind of narrow and I want to kind of open it up as much as possible. Now, one thing I want to do today in this video is I want to hook up the air system on these 4 tanks. So aeration, I don't know if I'll have enough air tube to do it in this video, but you can see this tank especially, there is no surface agitation. Like, look at this, and I think this is all algae. Now you can see how green my finger becomes just touching this. Yeah, that is all algae on the surface, so I really gotta get surface agitation in here. The filter is working. It's definitely not the strongest flow, but you can see that there is some flow there. So the thing is, it's pointing kind of downwards and we're not getting any surface agitation. So I want to add air stones in all these tanks to get some movement going on. Air is just going to turn on at night, so we'll get aeration at night, and then during the daytime when there's CO2 running in these tanks, we'll have the air stone turn off. The air pump we'll be using is this brand from Suisaku. It's one my friend recommended me, and it's I think it's one of their larger sizes. So let's open this up and see what it's like. I'm quite excited to use it. Alright, so it's always recommended to put air pumps above the tanks, and you can see it comes with 4 of these, I don't know what you call it, but outputs, 4 outputs, and if you're not going to use all of them, as you can see in this bottom picture here, they give you 2 of these valves to kind of close off the air, so you don't have to so it doesn't just shoot out excess air. But yeah, let's get this thing set up. So it's gonna go above this rack on the top shelf, and we won't be able to see it, but I'll try to show you guys how I set this thing up. Alright, so I've got the air running on 3 tanks right now. I just remembered that before I get air running in this tank, I want to clean the tank up. I want to get as much of this surface film, algae, whatever it's called, out, and then we'll test the air out. But you can see this is what it looks like. The air stone, I'm not really loving this air stone. This is just what I had on hand. I usually use this for the sponge filters, but I'm gonna get some new air stones. I don't like the look of these in my tank, so yeah, we're gonna change them out in the future. But you can see how well it's all running. And this is the lower setting. I'll show you what the high setting looks like in a moment, but let me clean this tank up first. And this is what it looks like full blast. It is quite strong. It doesn't seem like it is, but you can see the surface agitation it's doing. Like this one here, maybe here you can tell how strong it is, but on 4 tanks we've got air hooked up, and as I mentioned, it'll only be turned on at night. Now let me lower this thing so you guys can see the difference. So now this is on the lowest setting. And now I'm making it go a little bit stronger. And you might be able to tell that it's quite loud. The lowest setting is quite quiet, but now I'll put it on the middle setting. From down here you can hear it a bit as well. I think I will keep it on the middle setting because this is only going to turn on at night. These air stones will be running from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. The lights turn on at 12 and they turn off at 8, so after the lights go off, the air stones will take over. And yeah, it looks like the fish may be quite surprised as to what's going on, but the rainbow fish are looking amazing. The water is a little bit cloudy right now after the water change. I'm gonna have to do a water change on this tank next. I got some amazing footage of these fish showing breeding behavior. Like, look at them right now. Right now they're showing some of that breeding behavior. Look at the colors of the tawa. The blue and the red. So incredibly beautiful. Yeah, I gotta clean the glass of this tank. And yesterday these guys were showing breeding behavior, which is amazing. But I'm gonna turn off the air stones because it's not their time to be running right now. I'm gonna hook them up to timer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The fish room is starting to look amazing. I love the way this room turned out. Right now it's a huge mess. I gotta clean up this. This is the filter from the African cichlid tank. I've gotta clean that up and move some of these stuff around. But this space here is just so much more open, and now when we sit here in the future, when I get the sofa here and the contest tank moved where the sofa is, it's just gonna look so amazing just sitting here and taking a look at all the fish tanks, all the aquariums. Before, the middle tanks would come up to around here. It would cover more than half of that tank right there. Yeah, you'd only be able to see that. So now with it freed up and all the way over here, once we get the contest tank, it will block a little bit. Like, it might block 1/3 of that tank, but it's still, you get to still see so much more than before, and I think it just looks amazing. I can't wait to get the contest tank moved. This year is gonna be amazing. And then this rack over here, we're gonna get some plants going on. I'm gonna start growing some nice begonias and cryptocoryns, anubias. I've already got the bulbitis in this tank, and it's set up right now. It's a little bit hard to see, but this is not its permanent setup. I'm only keeping it here, holding it in here until I get this whole tank set up. We need to make lids for this tank so that we can house some of these jungle plants. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. This space is so much more open. Man, this video is never gonna end, but this space is so much more open. Next time when we get the contest tank here, it'll be so much more easy to film. And this tank here, we're gonna set this tank up too. It's a 3-footer. We got a light from this company called LED Star. I call them LED Star, but I don't know, I think it's called LED Star. Really nice light, and we're gonna hook that up to this tank over here. And the contest tank will come here, as I keep mentioning, but this space is so much more open. I'm gonna be able to film these tanks easier as well. I'm just so excited for what's to come. Once again, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.